Imagine this. You come home after a long, exhausting day. No matter how tired you are, no matter what troubles weigh on your mind, the moment you step through the door, there they are. Your pet, waiting for you. Their tail wags, their eyes light up, and in that instant, nothing else matters. There is no judgment, no disappointment, only love. Pure, unwavering, and unconditional. For many of us, our pets are not just animals, they are family. They are the ones who sit beside us in our darkest moments, offering silent comfort when words fail. They celebrate our joys with us, dance in our happiness, and remain by our side when the world feels too heavy. But then one day they are gone. The house is quieter, the space they filled feels empty, and the question lingers, where did they go? Do they simply vanish, or is there something more? It's a question as old as time, one that touches the very core of our hearts. What happens to our beloved pets when they die? Do they have a soul? Do they wait for us somewhere beyond this life? Or is their presence woven into the very fabric of existence itself? Have you ever felt the deep, unspoken bond between you and your pet? It's something beyond words, beyond understanding. A connection that doesn't need language yet speaks directly to the heart. Whether it's the wag of a tail, the quiet purring beside you, or the gentle nuzzle of a soft nose, our pets become more than just animals. They become family. They become a part of us. From the moment we bring them into our homes, they weave themselves into the fabric of our lives. They see us at our best and our worst. They don't judge, don't hold grudges, don't demand explanations. They simply exist with us, for us. A dog waits by the door, anticipating our return with uncontainable excitement. A cat curls up beside us when we're feeling down, as if sensing emotions words cannot express. Even the smallest creatures, birds that chirp with joy or fish that glide gracefully through the water, create an atmosphere of peace, a rhythm of life that we grow accustomed to. It's easy to dismiss this connection as mere companionship, but anyone who has truly loved an animal knows it's more than that. Science has tried to explain it, how a pet's presence can reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and even improve mental health. But there's something deeper at work, something unseen, something beyond biology. When a pet looks at you with those soulful eyes, what is it that you see? It's not just an animal reacting to its owner. It's love, loyalty, trust, things that go beyond mere instinct. Anyone who has owned a dog knows that their love is unconditional. They don't care about your mistakes, your failures, your imperfections. They love you simply because you are theirs. And a cat, though often independent, still finds comfort in your presence, chooses to be near you, and trusts you enough to rest in your care. The connection between humans and animals has existed since the beginning of time. Ancient civilizations revered their pets, honoring them even in death. Pharaohs were buried with their cats, believing they would be reunited in the afterlife. Warriors rode into battle with horses that fought beside them, trusting them as partners in both life and death. Indigenous cultures believed that animals carried spiritual significance, that they were messengers or protectors. There has always been a recognition that these creatures are not just background figures in human existence. They are part of a greater design. And then there is grief. The loss of a pet is unlike any other. It is a sorrow that is often underestimated, yet it cuts deep. The house feels empty. The absence of their presence is almost tangible. No more familiar footsteps following you from room to room. No more warm body nestled against you on a cold night. No more knowing eyes that seem to understand your emotions without a single word. Some say it was just an animal, but those who have loved and lost a pet know the truth. It was never just an animal. It was a friend, a companion, a source of unwavering love. And in that love, there is something sacred, something that echoes the way we were meant to love and be loved, a reflection of something greater. Love is not bound by words. It is not exclusive to human relationships. It is an energy, a force that flows through all of creation. When we love our pets, and they love us in return, something profound happens. A bond forms that transcends the physical. And when they leave this world, that bond does not simply vanish. It lingers, it remains, it changes us. Perhaps this is why so many wonder about what happens to pets after they die, because deep down, we sense that such love cannot simply end, that there must be more, that a relationship built on trust, loyalty, and pure affection cannot simply be erased. When we love, we leave an imprint on the soul of another. And if we believe in a creator who is love itself, then perhaps it is not so far-fetched to believe that he, too, values that love. This is why the bond between humans and animals is so special. It is a reminder of something eternal, a glimpse of a love that is pure, selfless, and true. And in that love, there is hope. Hope that what we shared with them was not in vain. Hope that their lives mattered. Hope that in some way beyond our understanding, we will see them again. Throughout history, animals have played a profound role in human life, not just as companions, but as part of the divine creation. Many ancient cultures, religious texts, and spiritual traditions recognize animals as more than just creatures of instinct. They are portrayed as living beings with purpose, displaying emotions, intelligence, and even a connection to the divine. This raises an important question. Do animals have souls? And if they do, what happens to them when they pass away? The Bible, as well as other sacred writings, often mention animals in significant ways. In the book of Genesis, when God creates the world, he brings forth not only man, but also the creatures of the earth, sea, and sky. He breathes life into them, just as he does for humans. This breath, the divine spark of life, is what animates all living things. If we consider that a soul is the essence of life, then animals too have been given that gift. In the story of Noah's Ark, God's command to save not just people, but also animals speaks volumes about his care for all living creatures. He ensures that every species is preserved, a reminder that they hold value in his eyes. Later, in the book of Job, God himself points to the animals as examples of his wisdom and power, urging Job to consider their ways and what they reveal about the Creator. If animals were merely insignificant beings, why would God place such emphasis on them? Beyond the Bible, many religious traditions acknowledge animals as spiritual beings. In Hinduism, certain animals are seen as sacred, believed to carry divine energy. Buddhism teaches compassion toward all sentient beings, recognizing that animals, like humans, experience suffering, joy, and even forms of consciousness. Native American beliefs hold that animals possess spirits, each carrying a unique lesson or message for mankind. Even in Christianity, there are stories of saints who had deep connections with animals, such as Saint Francis of Assisi, who preached to birds and believed that all creatures were part of God's great family. If animals are part of God's creation, given life and purpose, then what happens to them when they die? The idea of an afterlife for animals has been debated for centuries. Some argue that only humans, created in the image of God, have eternal souls. Others believe that since animals lack the ability to sin or make moral choices, their souls simply cease to exist after death. But then there are those who look deeper into the nature of God, his love, his justice, his mercy, and ask, would a creator who cares for even the smallest sparrow allow those we love to simply disappear? Scripture provides glimpses of a future where animals exist beyond this world. In Isaiah's vision of the new heaven and earth, he describes a place where the wolf and the lamb dwell together in peace. This suggests a restored creation, a world where animals still have a place. The book of Revelation speaks of the return of Christ riding on a white horse, a detail that may not be merely symbolic. If there are animals in the eternal kingdom, could it mean that those we have loved and lost are not truly gone? The relationship between humans and animals is unlike any other. They trust us without question, love us without conditions, and remain loyal in ways that often surpass human relationships. If God placed them in our lives, allowed them to bring us joy and comfort, would he not also have a plan for their existence beyond this world? The answer may not be fully revealed in Scripture, but the heart of God, as seen throughout history, suggests that his love extends to all of his creation. When a pet dies, the pain is real because the love was real, and love by its very nature is eternal. If God is love and he delights in the beauty of his creation, it is not unreasonable to believe that he has a place for the animals that have walked beside us. If heaven is a place of joy and our pets brought us joy, is it possible that we will see them again? Perhaps it is not for us to fully understand, but to trust in the one who created them in the first place. The concept of the soul has been debated for centuries across cultures, religions, and philosophies. What is it that makes something alive? Is it merely the physical body, the biological functions, the beating of a heart, and the firing of neurons? Or is there something more, something deeper that gives life its meaning? The soul is often described as the essence of a being, the invisible force that animates life itself. If humans possess a soul, do animals as well? And if they do, is it eternal? The Bible describes the creation of life in a very specific way. In Genesis, God breathes life into Adam and he becomes a living being. The Hebrew word used here is nephesh, which is also used in reference to animals throughout the scriptures. This suggests that animals, like humans, have been given the breath of life, the very thing that makes them more than just flesh and bone. If the soul is defined as the breath of life, then animals have souls, for they too have been given life by the Creator's own will. Many people struggle with the idea that animals could have souls, often because they assume that having a soul means having human-like consciousness, the ability to make moral choices, or even a destiny in the afterlife. But this is a limited view of what a soul could be. If a soul is the spiritual essence that gives life, then it does not need to be the same in all creatures. Just as a human soul is distinct from an angelic soul, perhaps an animal's soul is distinct from a human's, but no less real. Animals display emotions, intelligence, and an awareness of their surroundings. A dog expresses joy when its owner returns home, fear when threatened, and grief when a companion is lost. A horse can bond deeply with a rider, trusting them completely. Elephants mourn their dead, returning to the bones of loved ones and standing in silent tribute. Even smaller creatures, such as birds, exhibit remarkable care for their young, building nests and sacrificing for their offspring. These behaviors are not random. They speak to something beyond simple instinct. They reveal a depth of experience, a capacity to feel, and perhaps a glimpse into the unseen part of their being. If animals did not have souls, what would be the source of their emotions and connections? If they were merely biological machines responding only to instinct, why do they show devotion, loyalty, and love in ways that often surpass human relationships? A pet does not love because it has to. It loves because it desires connection. It forms a bond not because of necessity, but because of something deeper, something that resembles the very essence of what we call the soul. The question of whether an animal's soul is eternal is more complex. Many religious traditions teach that the human soul is unique because it is made in the image of God, possessing an eternal nature. Humans have the ability to make moral choices, to seek God, and to participate in divine fellowship. Animals, while displaying profound emotion and intelligence, do not possess this same moral awareness. But does that mean their souls simply cease to exist after death? Or is there another possibility, one beyond human understanding? If God is love, and if He created animals with care and purpose, it is difficult to imagine that He would breathe life into them only for that life to vanish completely. Scripture gives hints of a world beyond this one, where all things are restored. The prophet Isaiah describes a future where the lion and the lamb dwell together in peace. The book of Revelation speaks of heavenly creatures that worship before God's throne. If eternity is the fulfillment of God's perfect will, and if animals were part of His perfect creation in the beginning, could they not also have a place in what is to come? Love is an eternal force. It is not bound by time, nor is it erased by death. If an animal's love is real, and anyone who has ever been loved by a pet knows that it is, then it stands to reason that something of that love remains beyond this world. Whether or not their souls continue in the same way as humans, one thing is certain: the breath that gave them life came from the same divine source. And what comes from the Creator does not simply vanish into nothingness. Grief is one of the deepest human emotions, a response to loss that reaches into the very core of who we are. When we lose someone we love, the pain is undeniable. It is a void that nothing seems to fill, a silence where there was once laughter, companionship, and warmth. But grief is not reserved only for the loss of human relationships. Those who have loved a pet know that their passing leaves a wound just as real, just as profound, and just as difficult to heal. A pet is more than just an animal that shares our home. They become part of our daily lives, a constant presence that offers comfort, love, and companionship. They greet us at the door after a long day, sit beside us in quiet moments, and provide a source of joy in ways that are often unspoken but deeply felt. They are there when no one else is, offering unconditional love without asking for anything in return. And when they are gone, their absence is felt in every empty space, every quiet moment that once held their presence. Many people struggle to express the grief they feel over losing a pet. Society often dismisses it as something minor, an event that should not carry the same weight as losing a person. Some are told to just get another pet, as if their lost companion were replaceable. But anyone who has truly bonded with an animal knows that each one is unique, with a personality, a presence, and a connection that cannot be duplicated. Losing a pet is not just losing an animal, it is losing a friend, a family member, a part of our hearts. The pain of loss is made even more difficult by the silence that follows. Unlike human loss, where there are funerals, condolences, and an acknowledgement of grief, the loss of a pet often goes unnoticed by the world. There is no formal ritual to say goodbye, no widespread recognition of the depth of sorrow that comes with it. The grief remains, but it is often carried alone, hidden away because it is not always understood by others. Yet grief in its truest form is a testament to love. We mourn deeply because we have loved deeply. The bond between a person and their pet is one of the purest forms of love, uncomplicated, unconditional, free from expectations or disappointments. A pet does not care about status, success, or failure. They simply love, without question, without hesitation. And when that love is taken away by death, the heart struggles to comprehend the emptiness left behind. There is a longing in grief, a question that lingers in the silence. Where are they now? Do they still exist in some form? Will we ever see them again? These are the same questions asked when any loved one passes away, rooted in the desire to know that death is not the end. Many people find comfort in the belief that their pets are waiting for them, that there is a place where the bond is not broken, where love continues beyond the limits of this world. Faith offers different perspectives on this idea. Some believe that animals have a place in eternity, that they too are part of God's creation and therefore part of His greater plan. Others hold to the belief that only humans have eternal souls, that animals, while beloved, do not continue beyond this life. But in the depths of grief, these theological debates often fade in the face of a simpler truth. Love does not simply disappear. If love is eternal, if it is something that transcends time and space, then the love shared with a pet must also endure in some way. The pain of losing a pet does not go away overnight. Healing is a slow process, one that comes in waves, sometimes gentle, sometimes overwhelming. The memories remain, sometimes bringing comfort, sometimes reopening the wound. But with time, grief transforms. The ache of loss is not erased, but it becomes intertwined with gratitude. Gratitude for the time shared, for the love given and received, for the moments that can never be taken away. Moving forward after the loss of a pet does not mean forgetting. It does not mean replacing or moving on as if they never existed. It means carrying them with us, in our hearts, in our memories, in the ways they changed us. It means recognizing that love once given is never truly lost. And perhaps in ways we do not fully understand, that love continues beyond this world, waiting for the day when we are reunited once more. The bond between humans and animals is one of the oldest and deepest connections in existence. From the beginning of time, animals have been our companions, our protectors, and in many ways our teachers. They live beside us, sharing in our joys and sorrows, offering unconditional love without expectation or judgment. Anyone who has had a pet knows the depth of this bond, the unspoken language that exists between species, the understanding that goes beyond words. It is a connection that is both physical and emotional, and for many it feels profoundly spiritual. There's something mysterious about the way animals sense things that humans often overlook. A dog will sit beside its owner in times of distress, offering silent comfort without needing to be asked. A cat will curl up next to someone who is ill, providing warmth and a calming presence. Horses have been known to recognize human emotions, responding with gentleness when their rider is troubled. Even wild animals display acts of compassion, protecting those who show them kindness or mourning the loss of their own. These moments reveal something beyond instinct. They show a deep, almost sacred connection between all living things. The idea that animals have a spiritual connection to their owners is not new. In many cultures and religions, animals are seen as messengers, guides, or even guardians of the soul. Native American traditions speak of spirit animals, creatures that walk alongside humans, offering wisdom and protection. In Christianity, animals appear throughout the Bible as part of God's divine plan, from the dove that signified peace after the flood to the donkey that carried Christ into Jerusalem. In Eastern traditions, animals are seen as symbols of energy and balance, reflecting the deeper truths of life. These beliefs suggest that animals are not just passive creatures in our lives, but active participants in our spiritual journeys. Anyone who has ever had a pet knows that their presence can bring peace, healing, and a sense of companionship that is difficult to explain. There are countless stories of people who have faced great hardship only to find comfort in the presence of an animal. A grieving person may find solace in the gentle nudge of a dog's nose. Someone battling illness may feel strength return when their pet refuses to leave their side. Even those who struggle with loneliness often find that the presence of an animal fills the void in a way that human company sometimes cannot. It is not just about the comfort they provide in life, but also the way they leave a mark on the soul even after they are gone. When a beloved pet passes away, the loss is felt deeply. It is not just the absence of their physical presence, but the loss of a connection that seemed to transcend the boundaries of species. For many, it feels as if a part of them is missing, as if the world is just a little quieter, a little emptier. Yet even in their absence, their presence lingers. There are stories of people who have felt their pets near them, even after they have passed, hearing the familiar sound of paws on the floor, feeling a warmth beside them at night, or simply sensing their presence in an unexplainable way. Whether these experiences are spiritual or simply the echoes of deep love, they reveal a truth that is undeniable. The bond between an animal and its owner does not fade with death. It remains, woven into the fabric of the heart. Some believe that this bond continues beyond this life. There is a hope that in the afterlife, the same love that was shared on earth will be reunited. There are those who dream of seeing their beloved pets again, of running with them in fields where pain and suffering no longer exist. While no one can say for certain what awaits beyond this world, the love that was shared in life is something that cannot be erased. Faith teaches that love is eternal. If this is true, then the love we share with animals must also have a place in eternity. The connections we form are not accidents. They are part of a greater design, a reflection of the love that exists in the universe. The lessons they teach us about loyalty, patience, forgiveness, and joy are not just for this life, but perhaps for something greater. There is a reason why people remember their pets long after they are gone. It is because they were more than just animals. They were companions of the soul, silent teachers of love, and reminders that sometimes the purest forms of connection come without words. Whether in this life or the next, the love they gave will always remain. The universe is vast, filled with mysteries that stretch beyond human understanding. Among these mysteries is the question of life, death, and what lies beyond. Humans have searched for answers since the beginning of time, seeking to understand where they come from and where they go when this life ends. But this search is not limited to humanity alone. Those who have loved a pet, who have shared their lives with a creature of fur, feathers, or scales, have asked the same question. What happens to them when they die? Do they simply fade away, or is there something more? The bond between a person and their pet is something profound, something that cannot be measured or explained in logical terms. A pet is not just an animal, it is a companion, a source of unconditional love, a presence that offers comfort in moments of loneliness, joy in times of sorrow, and companionship through the years. They are there in ways that no one else is, asking for nothing but love in return. When they pass away, their absence is felt deeply, as if a piece of the heart has been taken. The idea that animals could have an existence beyond death is one that has been considered by many cultures, religions, and philosophies. Some believe that animals, like humans, have a spirit that continues after the body has perished. Others see them as part of the cycle of nature, returning to the earth from which they came. Still, there are those who feel, in the depths of their souls, that the love shared with a pet does not simply vanish, it must go somewhere. It must continue in some way. There are stories, countless stories of people who have felt the presence of their beloved pets even after they have died. Some hear the soft padding of paws on the floor when no animal is there. Others feel the warmth of a familiar presence beside them at night. There are those who dream so vividly of their pets that it feels like more than just memory. It feels like a visitation, a moment where the barrier between this world and whatever lies beyond is momentarily lifted. Science may dismiss these experiences as the brain's way of coping with grief, but the heart knows something deeper. The bond between a human and an animal is not simply biological, it is spiritual. It is something that cannot be reduced to mere survival instincts or evolutionary programming. It is love in its purest form, and love, by its very nature, is eternal. There is an ancient belief that the soul is made of energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It only changes form. If this is true, then the essence of an animal, the life force that gave them personality, joy, and affection, does not simply disappear. It transforms, it moves, it continues in a way beyond human comprehension. Perhaps they become part of the very fabric of the universe, woven into the air, the earth, the stars. Perhaps they wait in a place beyond time, a place where all things are made whole again. Many people find comfort in the idea of a paradise where animals live on, a place where they are free from pain, where they run, play, and exist in a state of peace. Some believe that heaven, whatever form it takes, must include them, because love is not complete without those we have cherished. The idea of the rainbow bridge where pets wait for their owners has become a symbol of hope for those who have experienced this loss. It is not just a story, it is an expression of something deeply felt, the longing to be reunited with those who brought so much joy into our lives. But even if one does not believe in an afterlife, even if one sees death as an end, there is still something undeniable. The impact of love does not fade. A pet may pass away, but the love they gave remains. It shapes the heart, leaves an imprint on the soul. Every time a person remembers their pet, every time they speak their name or smile at a memory, they bring them back in some way. They live on in the stories, in the lessons they taught, in the quiet moments where their absence is still felt. Some say that love is the only thing that truly lasts, that it is the one force that cannot be taken away, that it exists beyond time and space. If that is true, then the love shared with a pet is not lost. It is carried forward into the future, into the unknown, into whatever comes next. Love is not bound by time, nor is it erased by death. The bond we share with our pets is something deeper than mere companionship. It is a reflection of something eternal, something that transcends this life. Whether one believes in an afterlife where they wait for us, or in a universe where their spirit transforms into something greater, one thing remains undeniable: love does not disappear. The memories, the lessons, the moments shared, these are not lost. They are carried within us, shaping who we are, reminding us of the beauty of unconditional love. The presence of a beloved pet may no longer be seen, but it is still felt in the quiet spaces of the heart, in the echoes of their joy, in the warmth they once brought into our lives. Perhaps they do wait for us, in a place where pain no longer exists, where love continues without end. Or perhaps they are already here, woven into the fabric of the world around us, watching over us in ways we cannot see. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: the love they gave will never be forgotten. It will always remain, because love, in its purest form, is forever.